Sup guys, dinofries here, and I have finally beaten Fire Emblem Engage. It only took me like over 50 hours to do so, but I beat it, and I'm here today to give you guys a review, a spoiler-free review. I won't show you guys anything that happens in the story. I'm just gonna show screenshots and videos of gameplay. Also, I'm gonna split this video in half. So first I'm gonna talk about what I liked, and then I'm gonna talk about what I disliked. So let's get into it. So the point of video games is entertainment, right? So you may ask, well, is Fire Emblem Engage fun? Fuck yeah, it is. And that's almost entirely because of the combat. If you like Fire Emblem in the past, like the franchise, then this is that core gameplay at its finest. Even if you just like tactical RPGs, this is up there with the greats. There's over 50 characters to play around with, all with different pros and cons, and you can make any character, any class you want them to be, although obviously some do better in certain roles than others. Also, you're able to upgrade an array of weapons from a sizable pool, and by the end, with all this customization, it really felt like my team was my own. For more on which units I picked, check out the previous video I did where I dive in to my final team. Another thing that makes the combat fantastic is the emblem rings. So on top of customizing your units, there's 12 emblem rings, and each is different. They boost specific stats and have unique attacks for when you engage. And engage is like an ultimate. It lasts 3 turns until you must charge it up again. And testing which pairings work best is actually really cool. And again, another way that this game lets you feel like your team is your own. It's unique. You put this together based on your playstyle when it comes to, I don't know, tactical RPGs, just video games in general. Also, let's talk about the time crystal. It's back. This debuted, I believe, in Fire Emblem Three Houses, and thank goodness, because I used that bad boy more times than I could count. If you make a wrong move and one of your units dies, you just reverse time and make a better decision. And I hope this becomes a staple in the franchise, as I don't think I could play without it going forward. It feels like a necessity now in these games. It makes it so much more smoother and fluid, because if you make a mistake, you don't have to start all over. You just want to correct that move you made, and it works really well. Now, what about the graphics? Beautiful. They're a huge step up from Three Houses actually, which I thought looked nice already. Engage is more anime-y, which may turn off some people, but I personally think it fits quite well. Somniel, which is like your hub, your base, your headquarters, even rivals that of the Garrigmog monastery that was in Three Houses. I mean, in terms of atmosphere, it's different, but it's quaint. It's not as elaborate in terms of like what you can do there, but it's really pretty. And the battlefields in Engage are definitely better than those that were in Three Houses. They look better, and going off the graphics, the cutscenes too are low-key gorgeous. And I love how each character has their own style as well. I mean, you've got cute ones, cool ones, and of course, sexy ones. Overall though, like awesome design and art direction here. I enjoyed it a lot. As for difficulty, I thought the game was decently challenging, even for me playing on normal mode. I died plenty of times and had to rethink my strategy, utilizing the weapon advantages and making most of the ultimates, those engage attacks that I talked about before, when I needed them to, because they helped me out in a pinch. That being said, you're allowed to deploy 14 units at a time during the end game, and I actually wound up only putting out 12 because there's 12 emblem rings that you get, and I have OCD. But some of my team members were weaker than the others, but I pulled through just fine. Like it worked out for me fine. A couple of other features I want to mention that I really liked was the you can adopt animals. Like, yeah, you can pet the dog in this game. You can pet the cat. You can pet the rabbit. You can pet the sheep, the eagle, the marmot, and like what they're used for is just gathering resources. And it wasn't that important, but I found it adorable. And also, you get a little pet, Insomnial. Its name is Sami. You can name it whatever you want. Obviously, I named it after my cat Totoro. And you can dress him up. And he's also just there for gathering resources, but it's cute. He follows you around and stuff. I like that a lot. Okay, now that we got all the likes out of the way, let's get into the dislikes. So you know how I gushed about how good the combat is, how fun this game gets? Well, the developers decided to unfortunately throw a bunch of bullshit in Fire Emblem Engage so that you're constantly wasting time in between battles, aka the actual reason to play this game in the first place. Let's start with the support system. Fire Emblem like always has had these support systems in place, but compared to Three Houses, which I have to compare it to, it's like super half-baked, and I don't even know why they bothered. Like, I get you need support systems in Fire Emblem, but the conversations that these characters have appear so dry and dense. Like, they try to make each character have their own like little quirk, like little personality, like one thing about them, and they just overplay it. It's super annoying, and they completely downgraded, in my opinion, from Three Houses. And overall too, like the simulation aspect of this game, it's trash. They phoned it in. I don't know like what they were thinking. I mean, like people liked that part of Three Houses, right? So they obviously had to include that again. But I honestly wish they didn't at all. Remember how I said Somniel is pretty? Okay, it is, but it's also fucking pointless in a lot of ways. I don't want to fish or cook or ride wyverns or have my fortune told or pick fruits. All I need from Somniel is the item shop, the armory, the smithy, and the boutique. Cause like I just want to, replenish my items, like buy stuff, upgrade my equipment, and just get back into battling again, which is again the fun part of the game, the enjoyable part of Fire Emblem Engage. I did, however, enjoy dressing up my characters though, so they can keep that part going forward. I like that. I put them all in swimsuits. There's also like an arena where you train your characters with their rings, because you get this currency aside from money. You get bond fragments, and so like you can spend them on a bunch of things, and I just spent them on there just for free experience. There's also a ring chamber where you can inherit emblem ring skills or fuse them together or whatever. I didn't even bother, and I got through the game just fine. Like, this is what I mean. There's so many pointless mechanics in this game, which I thinking about it now, I'm sure they're probably useful if you did harder difficulties, which is fine. But for a normal difficulty player, I thought it was completely pointless. In addition, there's also the Tower of Trials, which is in Somniel, and there's like skirmishes on the world map to grind, and I did none of that. There was so much in this game that I ignored. You know what I couldn't ignore though? So after every battle, you have like the chance to explore the battlefield where you just fought in, and like, yeah, the maps look super good. I enjoyed taking a quick peek, but then you have to run around, and this is where you can adopt animals, but you can also pick up resources, and you kind of have to run around and grab resources, or else you're gonna miss out on valuable materials. And I didn't like that part, man. It just felt pointless to me, and just a way to make you play more and waste time. I'm not done. All right, let's talk about the animations. All right, so I said like the graphics are good, this game looks good, but bro, the way these characters speak to each other, it's so frustratingly stiff and shallow. It's borderline insufferable. The cutscenes again look fantastic. I don't mind the cutscenes, but there's also cutscenes where there's just dialogue boxes and they talk, and dude, they're whoever wrote this game, I don't even know. Like it's so bad. It's so bad. They're so lifeless the way they move and speak to each other. Like, I am the divine dragon. That's all the protagonist says. Like, he says it 1,000 times by chapter 5. We know you're the divine dragon. You don't have to keep repeating it. And everyone else repeats it too. I'm just glad that they put auto advance for the dialogue. So you can like skip ahead, or you can like press it and it'll keep going for you. So you can like finish a battle and then they start talking. And you're like, all right, I'm gonna go take a piss or go out for a smoke or something like that, and let it play out on its own, because who cares about this shitty story? And that will be our last point of this long list of dislikes, it seems. The story, it sucks. I'm no spoilers because I'm not even gonna talk about it. It's generic. It's like your typical anime storyline. It's the storyline. You could skip the story entirely in this game and you'll be fine. You'll still enjoy the game, probably more so. So yeah, you guys are probably thinking, wow, he hated this game. I actually didn't, because the battling, like the fun parts were really fun. The core Fire Emblem gameplay is here. It's probably the most here than it ever has been in the franchise thus far. Although don't quote me on that. I haven't played all the Fire Emblem games. I've played some, but like again, the combat, the fun parts of this game are really fun, but unfortunately you gotta get through the cheesy, cringy dialogue in between. So if you can stomach that, then this game is for you. And I did have a good time. Alright guys, that's it for me today. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, buy my merch on the website in the description below, and yeah, that's about it for me today. Peace out.